Right. So welcome to this week's Tech Savvy. I realized that sometimes when we cover things, we still get questions about things that we've done in the past. And that means that maybe we need to touch on a few things from the past again, just to reinforce. And I've got a couple of things I want to show you, and maybe some things that would make life a little bit easier for you. So the first thing I want to say is that if I look at my screen over here, last week, we got into this discussion of inverters and that sort of thing. So here's what I want to show you. I think maybe it will probably help if I draw a picture. So let me get my whiteboard ready. Let's go like this. Let's get my whiteboard. Got it. And let's share that. Right. So the first thing I want to show you is that normally the way it works is you've got power in the house. So you've got this little board in your kitchen or in the garage, wherever you keep it. And it's got all those little switches and things on it. And normally when you trip the switch, one of them goes down or something like that. And of course, that goes into your house. It powers your house. And then that comes all the way back to the board again. And I think we all know how that works. So what happens when Eskom keeps cutting the power? Well, it means that this thing is off. That means no power is going through the house and you are sitting in darkness. And we all know that that is very, very inconvenient. So how do we fix that? Well, number one, if you don't need any devices on, you just need lights. You could go and buy those verstunkte lights that you've got to keep charging all the time. And then you forget to charge it and then the lights go off. And then you've got like a little bit of light coming. I mean, you probably get more light from a matchstick and you realize that now you're going to be sitting in the dark and it's a very big inconvenience. So what they are selling are these special light bulbs. And the light bulbs have got a built-in battery. And what happens is they charge like regular light bulbs. They switch on and they light up. You know, you've got a couple of lamps around the house. They light up. And as soon as the power goes off, the battery of those bulbs kick in. So those lights stay on. No any extra power is used other than the battery. And you could probably get a couple of hours on the battery on each of those bulbs. So that would just give you light around the house and you wouldn't have to do anything extra. It just automatically switches on when the power goes off. And then it charges when the power's back on. So there you don't need switches, you don't need anything. They are just there in case you want the light. But some people are saying, no, 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 no. We don't just want the light. We want internet. Okay, so now you've got your internet router over here. This is the one that comes from the road into the wall outside your house. And now you've got this little connection over here. And you want to get the Wi-Fi in your house. So then you only need to power this thing here. You don't need to power anything else. And you can buy a small little inverter box that costs about 500 Rand. You plug this into the wall and you plug your modem. You first plug it into this box and then you plug the box into the modem. So you bypass the modem directly and you go via this little box over here. And what that does is when the power goes off, like the battery over there, it keeps the modem and your internet on. So that means if you want to send WhatsApps and you want to watch some Netflix on your phone, or you want to do something on your phone, you can continue to do that as long as you've got battery on your phone. But then again, you get some people to say, no, 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 no. I don't just want the internet. I also want my TV. I want my DSTV. I want my computer and my printer because I am working from home and I need to have that kind of thing. So then what you can do is you can get an inverter. It's basically a box that connects to the power of your house, but it also connects to a set of batteries. They're much bigger than car batteries. The gel batteries are deep cycle batteries. That means they are used to the rigmarole of switching off power, draining all the way to the bottom, and then recharging all the way to the top. So there are gel batteries, and they do quite well under the circumstances, better than the lead ones that kind of leak after a couple of years. These gel batteries are fantastic. And what happens is the more batteries you have and the higher the capacity of the battery, the longer your power will stay on. So the inverter, all it does is it allows electricity to travel from your box through the inverter to charge the batteries. When the batteries are fully charged, you'll see a little battery indicator to show that it's fully charged. And when the power goes off, then the inverter, which is also connected to your house circuit over here. Let's just do that quickly. It's also connected to your house circuit. When the power goes off, then the circuit still gets power through the inverter. But it comes with a big but. You actually have to have a separate circuit board. So next to your board over here, you've got your plugs, you've got your geyser, you've got your stove. So what an electrician will do is they'll make another little box over here with just the bedroom, the lounge, and all the lights. So that when the power goes off, only this box is powered, which is just the bedroom, the power, the lights, and maybe the office. And that way, you know, anything that's plugged into those 3 spots or 2 spots and all the lights will all stay on. And as I said, depending on the inverter that you have, what capacity the inverter has, how big your batteries are, how many you have, that will determine how long your inverter is going to last. So let's look at a scenario. You've got a couple of TVs, a computer, and you've got DSTV, you've got all your lights, and you've converted them all to LED lights, which means they use a minute amount of electricity. Once the power goes off, this thing kicks in, the battery power. But the new trend is to not just get a regular inverter, you're going to go for a hybrid inverter. And what that does is it doesn't only take power from your ESCOM, it also takes powers from solar panels on your roof. So what you can do is you can go and put a whole bunch of these panels on your roof, and they will charge the batteries, not ESCOM. So when your power goes off, your batteries are fully charged, but not because you've been using ESCOM to charge them, but because you've been using the sun. And some people, they've got so many panels that they generate enough electricity to also run things, even when the batteries are running low. The solar panels are the ones that kick in. Obviously not so good at night. But is it an expensive exercise? It can be. It depends on your budget and what you need it for. So if you take your normal ESCOM electricity account and you work out what you are paying per month, some people are paying 3,000-4,000 Rand a month. So for them to go and invest an extra, I don't know, 15,000 Rand in a year, it means that after a while, when ESCOM keeps upping the fees for the cost of ESCOM, it means that because you're using solar panels, that means you're going to be saving money. And obviously, as the price of electricity increases, you're going to be saving even more money. So let me go like this. Here we go. So an ideal setup could be that you take a few solar panels, put them on your roof, and they connect to the inverter. The inverter also connects to your electricity box over there. And that is connected to some batteries over here. So what happens is the solar panels from the sun, they are charging the batteries. And if there's no sun, then your house will be charging those batteries. But either way, the batteries get charged. And when the power goes off, this is the other thing. You need to make sure you've got a pure sine wave inverter, pure sine wave. And what that does is that if you switch the power off, you want to make sure that there isn't a huge spike or a drop in electricity. You want to keep the electricity round about the same level so that your computers and your printers and your microwaves and things don't blow. So what was happening is that a lot of people, when the power went off during the early stages of load shedding, they would go and get a generator. A generator is a box that you have outside and you put petrol in it. And then when the power goes off, you go outside, you pull this thing on, it sounds like a lawnmower, and this thing starts generating power. You run a cable into it, and then that goes into the house. You must remember that this is not guaranteed to keep a steady power source. And sometimes that can affect your appliances. Some people will use a generator for ice cream machines when they are traveling in a little van and they're selling ice cream. Sometimes they'll use the generator just to keep certain things going. But I must just tell you, from a convenience point of view, an inverter is definitely the way to go. The other thing is that some people have decided, I don't want to go set up a fancy system. I just want a box that is an inverter with the batteries inside. And it's on wheels, and I can move it to any room that I like. So I plug it into the wall, and that charges the batteries. When the power goes off, I can then go and put, it's got a series of plugs in it. I can go and plug my TV. I can go and plug my whatever into it, and then I can just run it from there. So if you want the inconvenience of having to schlep this thing around the house and then plugging in separate devices, you're welcome to do so. My gut feel is that if you have got a little bit of money, you can buy the normal converter and it gets connected to your electricity board, and then you have the batteries nearby, and then that will take care of whatever your needs are. What does it cost? How long is a piece of string? You know, it depends on your needs. I've seen very cheap sine wave inverters that they come from China, and those you can buy for under 1,000 Rand, less than 1,000 Rand, but they don't have any digital readings on it. There's no digital readings on it. It's just a little metal box like this, and you connect that to batteries and it does its thing. Do they last very long? Not really. We had one and it blew after about 2 years. That's just the way it goes. If you're gonna, you pay, you get what you pay for. We then upgraded to one that was, it looked a little bit like, and let's see if I can find it here quickly. On the wall. So this is the one on the wheels that I was referring to. Let's see if it loads up. This is the one that you schlep around your house and you just plug into it when you need it. Not everyone is a big fan of these things, but you know, you decide if that's going to work for you. The other inverter that I'm referring to is one like this. And obviously you don't have to buy the top of the range one. This one over here is a hybrid. It's a solar inverter. It's also from the electricity, and you can check to see on the readings what the story is. You could see how much the power is going in, how much power is going out. You could see the batteries. You can also plug a computer cable into it, and you can even make minor adjustments on your laptop to get all the information that you want or to set it up. This is the more expensive route. A bottom of the range one like this can cost you anything from 3,000 to 5,000 Rand. But that bottom of the range one will power all your LED lights, 1 or 2 TVs and a computer and your modem. And if it, depending on the batteries that you've got, it'll keep you going for about 4 hours. So that is entirely up to you. As I said, the batteries are an expensive exercise. They are the ones that cost you between 2,500 and 3,500 Rand a battery. But remember, when there is load shedding, they cost 3,500 Rand each. When there is no load shedding, they cost 2,000 Rand because they're not in demand. So I always tell you, buy when everything is good, and then you'll get it for a good price. And then when things hit the fan, you have saved yourself a lot of money, because some of these people have bought up so many of these batteries and inverters, and now they're sitting with them because Eskom goes fine for about 6 months. So now they're sitting with all the stock. They need to convert that into money. And that's when you come in, you buy it for a good price. And then when it's time, you just get someone to set it up for you and you should be sorted. And there are lots of electricians who specialize in inverters. What might happen is that in the next couple of years, people are going to put wind turbines on their roof and solar panels, and they're going to get a nice set of batteries, and the entire house will be off grid. And that means that if you are off grid, you don't have to pay a cent to Eskom. That's no problem, Rebecca. What I will say is that Eskom are now doing a new thing. It's been in the world in other countries, but now it's coming to South Africa, that depending on how you generate electricity, if you generate a surplus of electricity, you can feed that back to Eskom and they will credit your account. So instead of paying a bill, you will receive money from Eskom, because you are not only in the negative, in other words, you're not using any of the electricity, but now you're generating a surplus which you don't even need. And you can then earn income from Eskom. That's how it works in other countries, where people who have got their own systems are feeding back into the electricity supply, and that way they actually end up making money every month instead of spending money every month. So I think this is going to be a huge field, because I don't see Eskom getting their act together for at least the next 5 years, and definitely worth investing in if you've got a little bit of money. But work out what system is best for you and what your needs are. If you just need lights, then just do the lights. If you need a little bit of a UPS, an uninterrupted power supply, just for your computer and your modem and your laptop, so that you can watch a movie on Netflix on your laptop, then that's absolutely fine. You don't have to spend a lot of money, but just know that you've got many options, and don't spend on a system that you don't need, rather spend on a system that you do need. Let's have a look over here. Are there any questions? Oh, yes, Estelle, what is your question?
I'm always asking questions.
That is
you know
one of
that,
the most beautiful things. Curiosity is what saves the world.
That bottom of the range inverter, like 3,000 to 5,000, do you have to have solar panels with that one?
No. So it's a hybrid unit. So if I look, for example, let me just see bid or buy. They had some really good deals recently. I'll just do a quick search to see if I can find an example of one. And let's go to inverter. Here we go. Let's see if there are any cheap ones at the moment. Some of these are top of the range. And okay, I'm going to share the screen so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay, so these ones are generally your solar power ones. That means that they are hybrid. So you can connect solar power to it, but it also takes in power from Eskom. These are the cheap box ones that I'm talking about from China. They don't have any digital readings. This one's a 500 watt inverter. That's a 4,000 watt inverter. And that is going for 3,700. But as I said to you, it comes at a price. There are no guarantees. All right. Here is a 1,200 inverter. That's going for 225. But if I look over here at pricing, I want to sort it according to the lower price. Let's see what I can find. Those are just regular batteries. We'll soon get to the ones that we're actually looking for. We're looking for inverters. That's the one we're looking for. Oh, those are parts that you connect to some of the inverters. Let's go to forward it a little bit to maybe number 33. Now you're talking high-end ones. Those are in the 70,000s. Now we're down to 22,000. Let's go to 15. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. I think if we go down a couple more, those are 12. Now we've got 10. This is a 5 kilowatt one, and that's 10. I've only got a 3 kilowatt, so that's more than my needs. So 3 kilowatts is amazing. This is 5 kilowatts for 10,000. We're still going down. Okay, we've got one similar to this one, 3 kilowatts. This one is 7,000. We got it less, so let's see if we can find a good deal. Here we go. That one is still 7,000. So these are the 7,000 range, and those are obviously all hybrid, which means that they do solar. Here, for example, is a hybrid inverter. It's solar, and it's a 3 kilowatts one for 5,500. That's not bad. We might even get a better deal. We're just going down even further. Here we go. There is a 1 kilowatt for 4,200. Here is a 3 kilowatt for 4,500. We could still go even lower. We're only on page 20 something. And then I'm not, oh, here we go. For 4,100, you could get yourself a 1 kilowatt one. This one over here. I'm not saying that these are all reputable sellers. I'm just showing you that pricing can range depending on where you buy it and who's supplying it, etc. So this one over here is a 2,400 watt sine wave one, and it's going for 3,500. So just to give you an indication that you can get decent deals, I'm just having a look to see if there's one more. Yeah, this one is a 1,200 watt one going for 2,800. Here is a 2,000 watt one going for 2,900. So, and we're only on page 21. So if we keep going down, we might get a really good deal for about maybe 2,000 Rand. So that should give you an indication of what these things can go for. Remember, if you go and buy a brand new one from a well-known electricity shop, you're going to pay top price. But remember, they are buying 40 or 50 of them, and they are making a markup on each one, and they've got to pay rent for the shop. But Joe Bloggs, who's selling from home, he buys 20 of them. He doesn't pay rent. He doesn't have to pay storage. So he can actually offer you a much more competitive price. And that's how you score. But, you take your risks if you're buying from Joe Bloggs, who doesn't give you a guarantee. That's the other problem. Does that answer your question, Estelle? Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. The next thing that I wanted to show you is actually something that I think is very important. Why do I think it's very important? Because a lot of you might have come across a thing called Google. Have you ever used Google before? You have? Well, you will know that when you are searching Google, sometimes You could type in a keyword, get 400,000 results, and those things are not what you need. So we're going to look at one or two Google search techniques. Here I am in Google, and I want to learn how to do a search. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type in Elvis Presley. What you might not realize is that at the top of the screen, you have got specific tabs. One says images, one says video, one says news, one says shopping, and one says more, and then there are tools. What are those things? Well, if I go to images, then they only show Elvis Presley images. So maybe you were looking for Elvis Presley images to use, but of course, you were in this particular tab over here, and it showed a lot of information about Elvis Presley, but that's not what you're looking for. So just get used to images. Maybe you don't want images, you just want videos. So these are all videos of Elvis Presley. Maybe you just want news about Elvis Presley. What is this? Jerry Lawler says he almost had a match with Elvis Presley, whatever that was. Elvis Presley would call me late at night, says Nancy Sinatra, and she shares the king's sensitivity. Elvis Presley's grandchildren meet the rock legend's 4 grandkids, including lookalike Benjamin. So now, of course, there are grandchildren and you can learn about them, but these are all news reports. Then, of course, you click on shopping. Maybe you are looking to buy Elvis Presley CDs or DVDs or something like that, or glasses. So now you can get these things if you are looking for them. And if you click on more, there are other things like finance, flights, books, etc., etc. So when you are doing a search for something, don't forget that you still have all of these extra tabs over here. And if I click on tools, I can choose anytime or all results, that sort of thing. You can actually be a bit more specific with your searches. So Estelle, let's pretend you are looking for a news report about F.W. de Klerk. Because you've heard that he passed away and you were looking just for the news. You're not looking for images or videos. If you click on the news, well, that didn't really work. Let's try that again. F.W. de Klerk. And only the news. These are all news articles about it. So that might save you a little bit of time when you are searching the news, trying to get information. But now, what about specific things? So now I'm looking for puppy dog sweaters. And I should look under all. So sometimes I get these things popping up. Sometimes, is it bad to put sweaters on the dog? Blah, 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 blah. This particular one actually worked for me, but it also gave me information about puppy dogs. I want specifically puppy dog sweaters. So what I do, I put this in inverted commas. And when you put that in inverted commas, it will only return things that have got puppy dog sweaters and not things about puppies, not things about dogs, not things about sweaters. It'll only return puppy dog sweaters. Does that make sense? So let's do an example of one. I'm looking for tap dancing. So tap dancing, it gives me a whole bunch of things. Let's go with, I'm looking in particular for, let's do tap dancing. Well, that's not helping because that Google's behaving itself and it's getting quite smart and it's doing the right searches. Let's try one that will be a little bit confusing. How about, I'm looking for recipes for vegetarian. So it might give me vegetarian recipes, but in particular, I want ones with broccoli. So I'm going to go like this. Broccoli. I've done a search and I've put broccoli in inverted commas. And now it's only going to give me specific vegetarian recipes with broccoli in them. So if you're looking to make a specific search, then that would certainly help you to get where you are going. Is that a helpful tip? I don't know if you would need that. I find it very helpful if I'm looking for something specific, so I don't have to go through how many returns are there. 19.2 million results. I don't want to go through all 19 million of them, but I do know that the first few will be more specific because they have to have the word broccoli in it. All right. The next trick is, let's pretend I'm looking for, let's go with antiques. But I don't want furniture. So I'm going to go minus furniture. Antiques, and I'm minusing furniture from that. And let's see if that actually worked. Did it work? I think maybe the minus is telling us, well, let's have a look. Well, it's giving us lots of antiques, but in the pictures, some of those are popping up, and that's because of the keyword, and it's not using the word furniture, it's using the word drawer. So that's probably why it's popping up. But if you have a look through all the other things, you'll notice that they are removing, they've got the word antiques, but they've taken out anything that has got the word furniture in it. Let's do something a bit more specific. Let's say I'm looking for cell phones, but I want to minus Apple. What will happen now? So these are all going to be smartphones without apples as options. So you can minus something from your search if that is going to make life a little bit easier for you. Now, this one is interesting because let's pretend you are looking for something, but not on the internet. You are looking for something on a specific website. So what you could do is go like this. I'm looking for information about an astronaut, but I'm going to go to site www.livingmaths.com. I only want to search that website. And now you'll see all the things that are returned are all regards living maths. So I can search a specific website, and list my keyword like I did here. And I just put site colon and then the actual website. And then it'll only search that particular website to try and find things. Is that helpful? I don't know. Maybe you might find that helpful. And one more that I want to show you is the wild card. What is the wild card? So now you're looking for the words of a song, but you don't remember all the words. You're like, the words are love me something, love me something. I can't remember it. So I'm going to go song, love me. I put a star there. Love me something, love me something. And I do a search. Love me like you do. Maybe that's it. What else is there? Love me. Katy Perry, love me. So some of these things, when you put a star, it keeps it as like a joker. When you're playing cards, it could be anything. And that will help you to find a range of specific things. So let's try another one. Let's say I'm looking for ballet outfits from ballet outfits of Tanya. I can't remember her last name. Tanya someone. And there's Tanya Durban dance costumes, Tanya clothes, Tanya in ballerina outfits, Tanya the #1 ballerina couture. They've got Tanya Howard's dance bag. So this little star kind of acts like a wild card. It allows you to do a generalized search for things that could be a range of options. So instead of me just going ballet outfits of Tanya, so now it's looking for anything with the word Tanya in it. Now when you put the star there, it knows that it's Tanya something, and it tries to help you work out which Tanya you are referring to. Is there any other trick that I could show you? There is, like, for example, if I can get this working, I'm going to try. I'm going to use the microphone. Hopefully the microphone is working because it's not being used in Zoom. Let's try that again. Can you flip a coin? Let's do that again. Sorry. Flip a coin.
According to Wikipedia, coin flipping, coin tossing, or heads or tails is the practice of throwing a coin in the air and checking which side is showing when it lands.
Well, I know what it is.
Two alternatives, heads or tails, sometimes used to resolve a dispute between two parties.
So I don't want to hear that whole story. So let me go like this. Hey, Google, flip a coin. And my phone did it. Okay, let's try. How many rands will I get for $12?
$12 equals 183 South African rands and 4 cents.
UPS parcel number 1238765. So now if you're looking to track your parcel, it will track it for you. Let me try tracking it. Let's go track my UPS parcel 123456789. So then it starts loading up all the track my parcel options. What about, what time is BA flight 762?
British Airways 762 is on time and arrives in 1 hour, 14 minutes.
So you can ask Google all these things by clicking on the microphone. if you don't feel like typing it out. Or if you've got a cell phone, generally you can activate the little microphone by saying, hey, Google, and then like my phone's just activated now. And then you can ask it a question and it will do all the work for you. You can even ask it to set your alarm for a certain time. You can ask it to set a reminder. All those sorts of things can be done. So are there any questions about using Google searches? Anything that jumps out at you? Do you find that useful? Is that helpful? Amanda, you got a question?
Yeah, hi, Steve. We join a lot of the UK Zoom calls from Jewish Care, and everybody is confused about how to find the time from South Africa to London. Please, may you just show them? Thank you.
I'm so glad you asked me for that one. I'm going to share a link with you. This is the thing that I personally use because I believe that you need something that is simple, that helps you to work out the time. So let's go and find it over here. Where did I put it? There we go. It's called Every Time Zone. And let me share it with you on the screen. I'll first put in the chat for you in case any of you would like to test it out. There we go. Every time zone. So when I go into every time zone, I can customize mine. I've got London over here, the UK. I've got the US, which is, remember the US has got US Central Time, Eastern Time, Pacific Time, Mountain Time. I've got a whole bunch of different things, but I can also do specific things like New York or Germany, even though they might be on the same time as let's say London. I need to know that I'm specifically looking at Germany. So here's and here's Australia, and you can go like this, customize. You can take some out. You can remove one. You can add one. So now let's say I want to add one more. I'm going to go New York. New York in the United States. There we go. Save changes. And it should add it onto, where did it put New York? Let's just refresh it. Here's New York. There we go. It added it over here. And obviously put it in according to time frames. So now what do? I've got Cape Town, South Africa over here. And it knows that my local time right now, if I move my first of all, when are we looking for? Next week on the 22nd of November, I'm going to drag this, the 22nd of November. I want to know if it is at 9:30 in the morning. Can you see 9:30 in the morning for South Africa? Or, sorry, 9 o'clock. I should have gone to 9:30. There we go. 9:30 in the morning, South Africa. And it says my local time is 9:30. I can now have a look. In Hawaii, it is 9:30 in the evening. In London, it is 7:30 in the morning. In Berlin, it is 8:30 in the morning. In Mumbai, India, it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And if, for example, it's Australia and does something strange where we move it to, let's say, where's Cape Town? I'm going to move it to 2:45 in the afternoon in Cape Town, will be 1:45 in the morning on the 23rd of November in Australia. Sorry, New Zealand. It'll be 11:45 in the evening of the 22nd. But notice that when it gets to the next day, then that block will light up in blue. So I find this particularly useful because now what I can do is I can send this link to everyone. And if I share that link, then you will know that the event is happening at 2:45 my time, but it'll show you all the other countries, what time it's going to be for them and which day of the week it's going to be so that they know. So let's say, for example, you are going to be attending a workshop in London at 9 o'clock in the morning. So let's do that. We're going to go to 9 o'clock in the morning, London, and it's on the 22nd of November. I can see that it's 11 o'clock my time. I'm going to go click on link, copy that link. There we go. I've copied it. I think if you click over here, it puts it on the clipboard. And then I'm going to paste that into the chat. And Hijira, you've been using InVideo. That's fantastic. I love it. Hopefully you've been making use of it and doing some cool things with it. And of course, if I click on that link over there, let me show you what it looks like in an incognito window. So let me open up an incognito window. Here we go. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to share what you would see on your screen if you went to the incognito window. It says this event will begin at 11 a.m. South African time. So you will get a notification that that is the time it's going to start for you in South Africa. If you are in a different country, then obviously you're going to get a different notification. But remember, you can always compare. You could say, oh, well, that's going to be at 10 a.m. in Berlin. And on the 22nd, it's going to be 4 a.m. on the 22nd in Eastern Standard Time, which is New York time. So what I find helpful is that when I'm doing an event, and I do a lot of birthdays online, you know, Zoom parties, and I think, Sybil, you've been to one. So you would know that we sometimes have family members from all over the world joining us. And some are in Australia, some are in England, some are in America, some are in South Africa. So I ask the family, you tell me where everyone is based, and they give me all the different countries and the cities, and I put them over here like this. And I try and find, by sliding this across, I try and find a time that is doable for most. One of them is going to have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Sorry for you, but the rest, it will be doable. So if I look at this time over here, if I do 7 a.m. on the California side, then it means it'll be 10 a.m. in America. It will be, where's Cape Town? Cape Town, it'll be 5 p.m. for us. And if I go along, okay, it's going to be 4 o'clock in New Zealand and 2 o'clock in Sydney. So that's not going to work. Maybe if I go a little bit later to 6 o'clock in the morning in Sydney, they can get up at 6. It means in South Africa, it's going to be 9 p.m. my time. That's fine with me. In America, it's 11 a.m. in California, 1 p.m. in New York, well, and 7 p.m. in London. I think we found a time that works. And then all I do is I go and share that link. Boom. And everyone knows what time they're going to be joining if that's what they need to know. So hopefully that is of use to you. And if you ever need to find out when something is happening, you've got a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah or a wedding or a something, and you need to know what time is it going to be South African time, you just simply have to make sure you customize your country slots to make it work for you. So Mandy, I hope you're going to use that, because now you can go and set the time and email everyone that link. And when they click on the link, it'll tell them what time South African time they will be doing the event. So I think it's pretty cool. You're welcome. And we've got a couple of minutes left. I thought I would show you one more thing. Let's have a look to see what I was going to show you. Well, I can show you this. I think it's pretty decent. It's got some nice features. I don't know if any of you would use it or not. Maybe you might want to use this for some of your marketing. I don't know. It's called, let me copy it and I'll paste that in the chat. Hijira, this one's for you. It's called easygif.com. So let's have a look to see what easygif.com does. So easygif, generally, you all know what a JPEG file is. A JPEG file is an image. A GIF, known as a GIF file, some people call it a GIF file, that is also an image, but you can animate the image. So, you know, you might want to take a series of photos. In fact, let's do that. I'm going to try something that I didn't think I was going to do, but let's try that anyway. I'm going to spotlight myself. And I'm going to make this full screen. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some screenshots. Okay, I've taken a whole bunch of screenshots. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and use EasyGIF or easygif.com. Let's go to a GIF maker, the top left-hand corner one. I'm not sharing my screen, so that would be helpful if I did share it. Here we go. I'm going to go to GIF maker over here. This one is to make one from pictures. This one is to make one from a video. So let's say I go to this one here. I must upload some files. So I'm going to go along here. I'm going to click on there to choose my files. Come on. Taking its time. It's failing to, there we go. And I'm going to go all the way to screenshots because I took a whole bunch of screenshots. Let's go down to screenshots. And I'm going to go like this, choose all of them. I've chosen 13 files, upload and make a GIF. I don't know how long it'll take. Just connecting. So now what it does is it takes all those pictures. It then puts them all together into one file and it animates it. And if all goes well, something should pop up over here. Here we go. Something's going on. Those are all my pictures. Yes. And I'm going to go to make my GIF. Now it's making it for me. And then what you can do is when you put your profile picture. Do you like my profile picture? So I can now save this as a profile picture on my Facebook. And it is a picture of me pulling up my thumb and waving. So you can obviously spend a little bit more time and try and make it look good. You could, for example, have a video of your grandchild running up to hug you, and then you convert that little video into an animated GIF, and then you've got that to save. So all I do now is I save it. And once I've saved it, I've got my beautiful picture over there. And then I can use that as my profile pic. I can email it to people. And when they click on it, it's just going to be no sound, just an animated GIF, if that makes sense. Hijira, do you think there's some use for something like that?
I think it's brilliant. And I want to thank you for these powerful tools. It's just amazing. It's helped a lot. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I think that a lot of you might want to have your own personalized animated GIF. You don't have to put 12 pictures. You could put just 2 or 3. And you can also then, if you look over here, you can reverse it. You can add special effects. You can change the speed of it. You can add some writing on it. You can censor it, which means you can pixelate certain areas, like cover the eyes if you don't want the person to see their face. You can cut some of it. You can split it up. You can rotate it. You can resize it. You can crop it. You can still do lots of things. So now I might want to go like this, crop. I want to get rid of the, let's bring it in a bit more. Like that. Like that. And I'm taking out this bit over here. I'm happy with that. And I'm going to go to crop image. Now look. Now I don't have those windows on the side anymore. It's just me waving and putting my thumb up. And that was created in front of your eyes in a couple of seconds. So you can make your own animated GIFs. Remember, it doesn't only have to come from images. You could take a short little video. So if I go like this to video and I go choose video, let's find a video to choose. I'm sure I've got something under videos here, something short. I'm just trying to think if we've got anything funny to use. 18 seconds long. That one is 42 seconds. Too long, too long. Okay, let's go with the 18 seconds. And then you upload it. So now that is an actual video where I've given steps on how to use PowerPoint to do certain things. So if I play the video, there you've got me explaining things like this. Hello everyone, and welcome to Flexing Fridays. But now what I can do is go like this, convert it to GIF, and in a couple of seconds, we should be good to go. Let's have a look. Here it is. So there's no sound. It's just the animated version of what I did. And if I post that picture on my profile, then when people see my image, it's not going to be a static image. It's going to be one that moves. So the one image that I had of me earlier, of me going like this with my thumb, that would become, for example, an image that whenever you click on my icon, you're always going to see me doing this instead of me just smiling. So you can zhuzh things up. So I could see Rebecca, for example, on your screen, you've got Diana. That is her logo. But now if Diana had changed that to the kids all jumping up and going, woohoo, then you can have this GIF. Instead of that image, you can actually have a moving picture. And Sybil, instead of having one of you, it could have you smiling and waving, and that just brings the picture to life. And that is what an animated GIF is all about. So that was what I had for you today. Are there any questions? Anything you want me to go through again for next time? Something that we did in the past?
I have a question.
Sure.
That PowerPoint that you were just speaking about now, I'm not sure if anybody else would like to know how to actually do a PowerPoint professionally. If there are more people interested, that would really appeal to me.
PowerPoint and Google Slides. I will do that for next week. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then
also how to use the whiteboard. That would be useful for me.
Whiteboard, perfect. So whiteboard, PowerPoint, and Google Slides. Sure. Anything else?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to bombard the session. If there's any other senior that wants to ask a question first, I can wait. No? Okay. Well, I'm currently doing a course with the OLI and everything is online. You know, I'm still old school. I like the hard copy thing, but I need to adjust to the times.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing everything on Google Forms. So I
Yes.
sat on Saturday and I was busy filling out this form. It's like a 12-page form. And I can't get past page 3 for some or other odd reason. It keeps taking me back to page 3. I did phone the administrator, but I thought, I mean, she's overseas and it might take a long time for her to reply. Is there any way one can move past it?
So generally, when a person creates a form, sometimes they create an infinite loop that when you complete question 10, it takes you back to page 3. So, and I was actually going to look at Google Forms today, ironically, but I'll show you what I mean. Let's pretend, let's see if I can find a whiteboard quickly.
Can I just interject quickly, just to explain to you what it's all about? So the first page is basically like your personal information. The second page is questions that you have to answer. And then all these selective questions start where you need to tick the boxes.
Yeah.
It says, make sure that you only tick 1 box per column, because if you tick 2, it will take you back. Now I checked that. Everything was 1 box. So I should be able to go to the next page. I don't know why it takes me back.
Let me show you what I mean. And there are a couple of options of why it could be doing that. So you have a form and it'll ask you a question. Do you want to eat cake? And your options are yes or no. Now, in the back end of the form, the person said, if they say no, carry on with the next question. If they say yes, then a new question must pop up. Which cake do you like? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that will only pop up if you answer yes in that one. So what she might have done when she created the form is she said, if you tick this particular box, go back to not the next question, but go back to the last question on page 3. And that's why you can't get past that page, because it keeps taking you back to that other page.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but this form, this page that I can't pass, it's like open-ended questions, you know, like it doesn't require anything. Like,
is that some questions are required. So if you don't have an answer and you've left it blank, it won't proceed, because you have to have an answer in every question.
I have an answer for every question. That's what is confusing.
So there might, have you refreshed the page and tried again?
I've refreshed the page, tried it again, logged out of Google, did it again. I've even cleared the form, copied and pasted all my questions in Word, cleared the form, and went back and tried it over. Didn't work. I went back and tried to manually print it. I can't even do that.
So if you want to send me the link to the form and then tell me which page you got stuck on, I will play around with it and see what the story is.
Oh, that is a relief. That would be lovely. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. I'll check that out for you.
Thanks, Steve.
All right. Anyone else? Any questions?
Can I ask something completely?
You can ask
nothing to do with what
you like.
You know that Bluetooth, I managed to connect it to my phone, but it's speaking to me in Chinese.
Okay, so some of those things.
And when I went to the shop, they told me I've got to hold the button 5 seconds, and I've done that, but it's still talking to me in Chinese.
Okay, but normally when it's Chinese, it's normally saying searching for
You're
Bluetooth
connected.
device, and then it says Bluetooth connected.
Yes, so I must just leave it.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: is it working in your car?
It works in the car, but then I have to change my radio to that frequency.
Correct,
so I can't.
So, well, what kind of radio have you got?
It's one of these old-fashioned ones, so I can't
So you
I
don't have
can't
a
listen
manual,
to the
you don't have a
radio.
manual thing, or is it digital?
It's manual.
Because the digital ones, you can actually save that station as one of your favorites.
Yeah, I've saved it as a favorite, but then if the phone rings, I've got to change the channel on the radio.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because if you, I see. Okay.
If I'm listening to Smile and then the phone rings, and you're driving and you can't do that, you've got to change the channel on the radio before you answer the phone.
This is the one thing about those systems. I mean, they do serve a purpose, but at the end of the day, most of the cars that are coming out for the last few years all include Bluetooth in the sound systems. What you could do is at some point even go and get yourself a cheap radio that has got Bluetooth built in, and just replace your current radio with that one, and then all your problems are solved. So that is
well,
your option.
I went to quote that, and it was like 3,000 Rand. I said, no, thank you very much.
No. Like I said, you see, you can go and do it the expensive way, or you can go and get yourself a cheap radio. You can even buy yourself a secondhand one that does all the things you need it to do, and you just need someone to install it.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry
You're
to
welcome.
be a nuisance.
No, it's not a problem. Not a problem. Anyone else got any other questions? No? All right. Well, then we will see you all next week. We'll talk about presentations and forms and all those other things. And if you have any other requests, please let Diana and the team know, and I'll be glad to cover that when I see you next week. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Steve, as always.
Thanks a lot. Okay, bye-bye.
Can you, Steve?
Yes.
Can you please give me your email, because the one I have keeps coming back to me.
Let me see if you've sent me any emails to that Gmail account.
No, it wasn't a Gmail.
Oh, which one did you send it to?
I'll have to check now.
I'll type it. I'll send in the chat now quickly to you.
Thank you.
There we go.
Hope to see you all for exercises, and then this afternoon our health